So to be clear, Mr. Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.
I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians.
What do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So, it is political. You're a communist.
No, Mr. Green. Communism is just a red herring. Like all members of the oldest profession, I'm a capitalist.
Hello, welcome to Mueller, She Wrote. This is episode 10. My name is AG. I gotta go by AG because of the Hatch Act, although if you are any kind of a sleuth, you can probably very easily figure out who I am. The important part is that I don't say my name on this podcast or associate my federal government work with these politics in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. So, with me, as always, is Jaleesa Johnson.
Hey, guys.
She's going to be talking about Fire and Fury.
Yeah.
That came out this week. And we also have Jordan Coburn.
Hello.
Hello.
Present.
She's going to be talking about Nunez. I guess he's whitened it up, so he's Nunez.
I was going to say, it took off the accent mark.
Yeah, no tildes.
Makes sense, yeah.
No tildes for Nunez. And, yeah, it's almost like Pedro. Vote for Pedro. He should just run as that. So I'm going to cover Michael Schmidt's amazing New York Times bombshell reporting on obstruction of justice and some of the Fusion GPS op-ed that came out in New York Times as well. So I just want to first open up by saying, please follow us on Twitter. We look totally illegitimate, like babies, because we only have like 200 and something followers. But we're brand new, I swear. We're going to have millions. It's going to be bigly. It'll be the most amazing Twitter followers. I don't like to buy them, so whatever. Also, check us out on Facebook at Mueller, She Wrote. We're there. It's spelled Mueller, even though it's pronounced Mueller. It looks like Mueller. Mm-hmm. So go and check us out on Facebook. We're almost up to 1,000 likes, so click and like us there. Woo. And also, please subscribe to us on Podbean. Sometime in the night, last night, we surpassed 3,000 downloads. Yay us, yay. We're going to have a glass of, I don't know, milk or champagne or something.
We're sponsored by milk,
By milk and corn.
Milk and corn. We're gonna have some celebratory milk and corn. And please, if you like us at all, we don't ask you for any money. Just go and subscribe on Podbean and iTunes. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. It's the best thing you can do for us. It'll take you a minute, and I will be your best friend, even though you don't know what my name is. All right, so we're going to start with just the facts. All right, Monday. Well, Australia's upset on our reporting because we named their source, Alexander Downer, and I'll tell you who he is again. Sorry. Sorry, Alex. I love that his name is Downer, because that's pretty much what he is to the White House.
Oh, yeah.
Womp, womp.
Wow.
So that was what
great memes already.
Yeah, totally. It's a new Saturday Night Live character. It's gotta be. They gotta bring in Fosters or something.
I love it. Kate McKinnon would kill that.
A dingo stole my baby. Something. I remember the joke used to be that Trump would nominate a dingo to be in charge of babies. So I think that's funny. I can't remember who tweeted that, or I totally give you credit. It might be me. It might be somebody else. I can't remember. Tuesday, the New York Times op-ed dropped from the co-founders of Fusion GPS, asking, first, their main ask was to ask Chuck Grassley to release their 21 hours of testimony that they've given to the House and Senate Intelligence and Judicial Committees. 20 to 21 hours of testimony.
Right.
So I'm going to go over that a little bit later in more detail. On Wednesday, Manafort, our good old buddy Paul, filed a civil lawsuit suing Rod Rosenstein of the Department of Justice and Mueller, Robert Swan Mueller III, for sniffing around in his finances, asserting that it's outside of the scope of the special counsel. So he's suing Mueller for...
Always a loser.
Yeah, man.
You sue somebody for... Anyway, so he's suing Mueller because he investigated his finances, and he's suing Rod Rosenstein because Rod Rosenstein let Mueller investigate.
The privilege is so strong. It's so strong.
I don't like this. I'm
Yes.
going to show you how much I
Take
don't
their
like
money.
it.
Yeah, I'm super happy about this lawsuit, personally. I'll tell you a little bit later why I am when we get into another lawsuit that's being filed.
Okay.
But, well, no, I'll go ahead and tell you now. Specifically, this isn't facts, this is just me. I think that this is such a throwaway case. It could be considered a fraudulent or a frivolous lawsuit, that if he goes through with it, he's going to get wiped up. You know, they're going to wipe the floor with Manafort on this, and that's going to bolster and shore up Mueller's and Rod Rosenstein's credibility.
So I wonder why he's even doing it. 'Cause he's mad. He's just angry.
I don't know. Maybe I like to think Mueller said, "Hey, I'll take one of those charges away if you try to sue me."
Oh yeah, chess move.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
If he doesn't do anything, then he just looks dead in the water, and
Right.
it doesn't look good. Maybe.
Yeah, that would
I
make
don't
sense.
fucking know. I don't know how psychopaths think, man.
We'll
I wish
see.
I
It's
did.
just so weird. It's just weird. Also on Wednesday, after the Manafort lawsuit was reported, Fire and Fury was dropped. It's shared with the press. And the Bannon-Trump war has begun, which I think is hilarious because Nazis are probably like, who do I support now?
Exactly. They're so conflicted.
Mom, Dad,
Please stop fighting.
They yell up from their basement, hey, help me pick. Also, a surprise meeting occurred between Ray, Ryan, and Rosenstein. The three R's, except Ray begins with a W, but whatever.
Yeah. Spelling.
Arithmetic begins with an A, and they call it the three R's. So what? Just bear with me. Ray.
Arithmetic.
Apparently, you didn't get the reading and writing part, which begins with a W. You know what? Never mind. Just never mind. Hooked on phonics. So they met. Nobody knew about this. Apparently, Rod Rosenstein called the meeting. And they met with Ray. He's the director of the FBI. Super Trump fan. He's donated like $30,000 to Trump and his associates. And he's the current director of the FBI, who replaced Comey. And Paul Ryan, good old Paul Ryan, in charge of the House. Yeah. What I got to call the Compromat House. Compromat with disinformatia. That's how I refer to the House now. So they met. And we're going to talk a little bit about that meeting later. It's got to do with Nunes. I knew initially when that information came out that it had to be about Russia because otherwise Jeff Sessions would be there. Right. If Sessions isn't going, it can't be about Russia, or it has to be about Russia because he's not allowed to talk about Russia. Right. Little creepy guy. Also that day, Grassley says he will not release the Fusion GPS transcripts, citing that they contain sensitive law enforcement information. And he said he would. After the testimony, he said, I want to release these to the public. And he sent the transcripts to the Fusion GPS lawyers and said, clear these for me to release. And they did, and now he's flipped. Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about why he might have flipped as well. On Thursday, the New York Times reported that Trump told McGahn to lobby Sessions to not recuse himself. This is that big New York Times article, and I'm going to go into more detail in a little bit, but that's one of the bigger things that came out of it. They also reported Mueller now has handwritten notes from Reince Priebus confirming the Comey memos. Nice. So I tweeted this bombshell. This is all the Republicans and Trumpers are always like, no, you don't have any evidence. There's no evidence. You lie. There's no evidence.
You lie. You lie.
And now he's got handwritten evidence. Oh, yeah. Mueller doesn't. I don't know how this got out because Mueller's as tight as a butthole? Yeah. I was going to say. I'll leave that up to you. Oh, nice. He's watertight. And that it got out, I thought was really interesting. And I still want to know why and how it got out. Yeah. But in any case, I posted it on one of my pages, and I said, oh my God, bombshell. There's proof corroborating the Comey memos. Bombshell. And I got like 6 likes. Aw. And I had earlier posted about a PlayStation that I just got. It's right over there in that box. Hey. I'm really excited to hook it up later. Nice. 175 likes for the PlayStation. Oh, man. 6 likes for proof.
Defines America right there.
Of obstruction of justice.
They want to be distracted from the chaos. I don't blame them.
So I think when we share this episode, we just need to put
hashtag PlayStation.
We have a PlayStation. And Mueller, she wrote this week.
Nice.
I did that on a couple of my other political posts, and the likes doubled. So I think it's got something to do with the algorithm.
What if
Okay.
we offer a free PlayStation
Oh my
to
gosh.
one person?
Yeah.
But we have to get 1 million likes first.
There we go. I
Okay,
like this. plan.
million likes, and we need a couple of thousand followers on Podbean. And once we hit 3,000, we're going to randomly pick somebody off Podbean. I will buy you a PlayStation 4.
Yes, yes.
And we're going to call this
Who can turn that down?
Seriously, I'm gonna blast this everywhere now. People are gonna love it.
All right, so we'll come up with the rules and we'll post it. Will you do that,
Yeah,
Jaleesa?
I'll make a
All
note
right.
right now. Yeah.
How many likes do we have to get? How many subscribers on Podbean do we have to get? I'll buy you a PlayStation 4. I will. And I'll be the Battlefront 2 version 2 because everyone seems to hate it.
Yes.
Yes, this is going to shut us down.
So those are my New York Times PlayStation stories. On Friday, Camp David meeting, big Camp David meeting. At Camp David with Camp David people. I saw McConnell walk out in a pair of jeans, and I
Mitch?
I want to poke my eyes out.
Yeah,
It's like a turtle. Yeah, in pants. What's up with that?
Yeah, and Paul Ryan had some khakis on. That's his dress down, I guess.
They're
Yeah.
partying hard, I bet. Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
Ryan's sexy, man. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay, all right.
That's what happens at a Republican Party. One guy shows up in jeans and messes up the whole vibe. So, thank you, Turtleface. NBC reports that Trump sent multiple people to lobby sessions, not just McGahn, not just the White House counsel.
Okay.
And AP corroborated the New York Times reporting on Sessions and the NBC reporting on Sessions. So now we've got 3 pretty solid news sources
Okay.
reporting this lobbying Sessions to not recuse situation. That's back a ways, March, I think. No,
Yeah.
April. And March, April. Also, Lindsey Graham, who has been known to call President Trump a kook on several
I
occasions.
love it when old people say kook.
Such a kook. Gol darn it. By Jove, he's a kook.
Kook and a hoot.
Kook and a hoot. So Graham and Grassley have both flipped. And they have now submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice to investigate Christopher Steele.
Wow.
Their
Bullshit.
first criminal referral of the entire Russia probe
That's ridiculous.
is Steele, not even an American.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see their priorities.
And what's really funny about this is normally you can get criminal referrals to the DOJ from congressional inquiries. You get it; it happens, right? When it happens is generally if the DOJ already doesn't have the information. The information that Grassley and Graham are going off of is the information they got from the Department of Justice.
So it's just a waste of time all around.
So they're doing a criminal referral to the Department of Justice on the information that they already have.
They're buying time. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
Also, isn't that a huge waste of tax dollars?
Oh,
that they
always.
Yeah.
A whole podcast on that.
that's-
Yeah.
That's, that's a really stupid.
No, never.
And how about these street lamps?
Another thing that happened is Mueller, this is LA Times reporting, Mueller has recalled someone from the June 2016 meeting to come back in and talk to him. We don't know who. We don't know
It
who.
was like a game of Clue.
This happened last night. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what's happening. But that wraps up just the facts.
All right.
So now, a little bit about Fire and Fury by Mr. Wolf with 2 F's.
Yes.
Hoo-hoo. That book dropped. All of the news media got it and just started pouring over it. And,
So juicy.
And looking into it. Salacious, I think, is the #1 Googled word.
What?
No, I'm just making that up.
I can believe it with Fox
that's
News.
all they say. That's all they've been saying. This is a salacious tell-all, gossip, Inquirer type thing. Which, by the way, Trump has cited as real news.
Exactly, because he pretty much has connections there. So the hypocrisy is just.
For when he said Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK or whatever.
He said the Inquirer. He made him run that story. He bragged about it.
He sure did. So, Jaleesa, take it away. Talk about Fire and Fury.
Oh, yeah. Fire and Fury Inside the White House. Should be a movie. This should be the movie. By Michael Wolff. It's like an insider look into Trump's administration. It's got over 200 interviews. And Trump, of course, says the book is fake news. So just putting that out there first. But there were so many things, so many new revelations.
I like that he calls it news, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's progress. I noticed there was just too many things that I could talk about that were interesting, so I went with my top 10. So here are the top 10 revelations that stood out to me in no particular order. So number 1 is that Steve Bannon says the Russia meeting with Donald Trump Jr. was treasonous and unpatriotic. And yeah, I'll agree with that totally. Even though
he said this kind of shit too. He's
yeah,
like,
he was pissed. Whenever he talked to Michael Wolff about this book, he was in a whole different headspace. Because right now he's backtracking. You heard about that, right? He says,
saying he's
"I stand by the president." Yeah,
of course he is. He lost his Mercer money, so
I was wondering what. Okay, yeah, always money.
He could get kicked out of Breitbart. He's in trouble.
So you think he still feels this way, but he's just trying to hide it at this point? Because I wonder if he's just a weirdo that goes back and forth for political
I think he's
purposes,
just a crazy, like a little Klingon guy.
Yeah.
Who just kind of goes on the coattails of whoever will
Yeah, but I think he meant this. I just get the feeling that like he was truly being honest with this guy. And I don't understand how people let Michael Wolff even take these notes. Like,
well, they gave him access to
I know, but it's so crazy.
Yeah, I heard him say that he said that he definitely said everything he knew he would possibly need to say to get past access because he just
he butters them up. Yeah, but they go for it. And you think Bannon, I mean, that's why I have a feeling he wanted this to come out at the time.
And if you don't think it's amateur hour over there,
exactly,
you've got to be nuts.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
No worries. Number 2, Bannon also believes that there's really no doubt at all that Donald Trump Jr. brought the Russians from that meeting to Trump's office, which was, 3 floors above where the meeting took place?
1 floor.
One floor. Wow. So yeah,
26th floor.
It's almost like we all speculated this, but hearing it from Bannon himself, it's like, who else wouldn't know how likely that kind of thing is?
The only problem with Bannon is that if I were Mueller, I wouldn't even include him on my witness list because I think he's just not
too angry.
Yeah, mentioning his name is like just discrediting.
He's just not credible. He's an insane weirdo.
Good for gossip.
And he's already got if they went upstairs to talk, and first of all, I think it's hilarious that Donald Trump Jr. claimed that the conversations he had with his father about that June meeting, he claims attorney-client privilege on. It dawned on me. What if he's claiming attorney-client privilege because Veselnitskaya was there?
Oh my goodness, that would be insane.
She's a lawyer. Like, what?
That counts. They're smart in their own way.
No, you can't use that. Even if there was a real American lawyer.
Yeah.
A for effort, though. I would give them that.
No, Veselnitskaya was there. She's a lawyer. I saw her.
Technically,
I saw her degree.
It's beautiful.
God says.
But yeah, if you don't think that he just didn't take him upstairs and talk to him, you're nuts. But but I think Mueller already knows that from credible sources.
Right, we're all just catching up because of this book, which is, to me, it's like that the book that came out during the OJ trial from the.
But If I Did It, the one that he made.
Actually, no, the one that the victim, his ex-wife's friend made. She wrote a book in the middle of the trial, right? And then everybody had to put things on pause and read the book to catch up with the facts. That's kind of how I feel about this. So it's juicy, it's gossipy, but maybe we can find some facts in there. Number 3, apparently Trump didn't want to win, which some people speculated, and apparently no one really in his campaign did. And one of the quotes, one of the quotes that kind of, I guess, verified this, so to speak, is from Flynn. Flynn said, in regards to the $45,000 check he got from Russia for doing that speech, he said it would only be a problem if we won.
Yeah.
I guess.
A lot of people are speculating that that's why they didn't take Russia very seriously.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't tell the FBI when they were supposed to, which I think is another thing Bannon said.
Absolutely.
Is because they were like, we're not going to win.
Yeah. WikiLeaks with their response when they found out Trump won. Wow. Like, nobody saw that coming.
We all were.
Oh, yeah. And number 4, Trump apparently didn't know what a golden shower was when he was accused of it. Yeah, I mean, not to say he probably still got one, but like he just had to look up what a golden. They probably just said, "Hey, lay down, let me do something." To you.
You're like, "Hey, Trump, you want to try some water sports?" No,
yeah. Are you
I
cold?
I don't like tubing. I don't like water skiing. I don't want to try water sports.
This is so fun.
I don't like swimming. It messes up my hair.
His hair was one of the things I was gonna put it in my top 10, but there were so many others. Like, but apparently Ivanka said that his
daughter made fun of his hair.
Yeah, it's like engineered. She said like it's a perfect sculpt. It's just ridiculous.
That would be the only thing that makes sense, honestly.
Absolutely, like it's just
the most baffling.
Right, little precious thing to him. Number 5. Jared and Ivanka says that if the time comes that one of them can run for president, it would be her. Mm-hmm. So that's a plan that they apparently had, and Bannon just was like laughing at that when he heard. So the funny thing about this book is that
of sexism,
right? Michael Wolff was going around talking to everybody and just sharing what he knew with everyone and getting the reaction. So it's just like it's just funny to me that he did it that way instead of getting just quotes from like, one side of it. He actually shared the information so you can kind of get everybody's reaction. So Bannon was laughing at that. And number 6 is really funny to me. Trump eats at McDonald's because he's a germaphobe and paranoid about being poisoned. So the idea behind that, which to me I think is flawed, is that he thinks McDonald's is clean, and he also thinks that because no one knows he's showing up, the food will not be poisoned. Which, McDonald's, it's all poison. But, I mean, still,
and that working class people are not going to totally...
Right.
He just sends Papadopoulos out to get it. That's
there
all he was just a
I
McDonald's boy.
Somewhere. Yeah, Mickey D's.
He didn't have a high-up position or anything.
And this is another funny one. Apparently, people in the campaign, they said that Ivanka was Trump's actual wife and Hope Hicks was his actual daughter. So, like, that was their idea of, like, who really... Yeah, the positions there. I mean, all things we've speculated on that are just kind of funny power plays. Also, this guy, a former advisor to Trump, Sam Nunberg, he says that Trump has no interest in learning the Constitution, knows very little about it, and I wish I wrote the exact quote down.
I'm overhauling the whole thing.
Right?
Nunberg sounds like it's short for nothing burger.
Oh my god, that's so true. I never thought about
you guys, it's just a big Nunberg.
I love
it. With 0 fries. It's a Nunberg.
From McDonald's. Beautiful.
From clean McDonald's.
Oh man.
You know that flag that has it's like the capitalism America flag, and it has the McDonald's sign and all of the corporation signs.
Oh
where
yeah,
the stars
yeah.
are supposed to be, and it's all becoming too true, man.
It's like totally, yeah. It makes perfect sense now.
Just McDonald's everywhere.
And lastly, Trump hated his own election. Like apparently the night before he was assuring, or the night before the actual election, he was assuring Melania that he wouldn't win. Yeah. So he hated his inauguration, and so. Apparently Melania was crying at the inauguration, but not tears of joy. Like that's what people are saying in this book.
Yeah, she's pissed that he won because I heard a rumor that they made a deal that if he didn't win, she could divorce him. Yeah. Like she was planning to leave his ass.
Wow. But and
first lady. His advisor said, "Hold up, you might win." No. And he's like, "No, I'm not gonna win.
Poor Melania.
You'll be free."
Hashtag free Melania, guys.
Like Jabba the Hutt and Leia, slave Leia.
Sucks. Yeah. But yeah, that's the bulk of it that intrigued me from this book. So I'm gonna read. You bought a copy, right?
Yeah, it's on the way.
Yeah.
Another one that I wanted to ask you about was I heard that. There were accusations that Kushner threw Donald Trump Jr. under the bus for the June meeting. They wouldn't have found out about the June meeting were it not for Kushner's lawyers handing the emails over.
Yeah.
So Kushner's like, oh crap, and released them all because they came from Donald Trump Jr. It implicated Donald Trump Jr. and just released them all to get out ahead of it and totally threw DT Jr. under the bus.
I love it.
Also, another really big thing that came out of that was that Mark Carrillo quit. He was one of the he was a deputy or a spokesperson for the legal counsel.
Yeah.
And he was on Air Force One when the statement was crafted about the June meeting.
That's right.
And he actually quit because he felt he had witnessed obstruction of justice.
That's insane. That is the biggest bombshell, I would think. Yeah.
That and Sessions asked back in March when Trump was trying to get him to not recuse himself.
Yeah.
Sessions asked 4 days before Comey was fired for dirt on Comey.
Wow.
He said, every day I want a negative story about Comey.
Oh
Jesus.
My gosh. We're living in the movie, guys. Like, it's insane.
And also, Keith Schiller retired. Remember The Bodyguard?
Oh, yeah.
He's gone.
And they already interviewed him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what did he tell them?
Yeah, he's gone. So when I get to Sabotage, Schiller may come up again. Jordan, I want you to talk about Nunes a little bit.
Yes.
Pedro. No tilde Nunes.
No tilde Nunes. That's a great name for him. Okay, so yes, Nunes is a Republican representative from California. Very disappointed in California.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's basically leading the the counter efforts against this investigation just into Trump and all of his corrupt doings. Most specifically, right now, though, the FBI and DOJ's involvement with the dossier.
And to give you a little framework, he's the one who was gathering the subgroup of Republicans from the House committee.
Yeah, head of the House Intelligence.
Okay.
Yeah, he was gathering that little subgroup of Republicans that were meeting behind closed doors without telling Democrats about it to try to discredit the dossier.
Yes.
Asshole.
Yes, total asshole. And basically, right now, this meeting that happened on Wednesday that AG was referencing before with Speaker Ryan, Ray, and himself, and who was the last guy again?
Rosenstein?
Rosenstein, yes. Okay,
Nunes wasn't there.
Right.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, Nunes was not at the meeting. The
Oh,
meeting was
so sorry,
It's all
everyone.
Meeting
I'm
was
trying to do this thing where I don't look at my notes, so it's just more free-flowing, but then facts get messed up.
I dig it, though. Fact-checking in real time. It's
That's
better than later.
Yeah, because it's okay to be mistaken. in
Right?
speaking
Trump,
of
if you're
one.
listening.
It's fine.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, but so they have that meeting, which I'm now seeing on my notes.
Yeah, it was about Nunes.
Yeah, about him, and so basically, Paul Ryan is standing up for Nunes's requests for these documents that unprecedentedly he's wanting to be given up to members of Congress to look at. They're very sensitive documents. The country does not have a history of letting Congress see documents from the FBI and the DOJ that are like this.
Particularly in ongoing criminal investigations. And if you remember, Chuck Grassley refuses to release the Fusion GPS transcripts because they have sensitive law enforcement information in them. So, suck it.
Yeah, so they call this meeting sort of the last throw at Ryan, seeing if they can kind of get him to not take the stance, which he does take, which is this, as reported by his spokeswoman, Ashley Strong. She reported to CNN on Thursday, the speaker always expects the administration to comply with the House's oversight requests. So, Paul Ryan is taking Nunes' side on this, which would appear that he is kind of now taking the side of the GOP's efforts to completely discredit the origination of these investigations into the Trump-Russia probe. Although they're saying that they didn't speak specifically about anything related to Russia and that it was just about the dossier, but everyone knows
Which is
that's
not
code
about Russia
for
at
it.
all.
Right, everyone knows that's code for the Russia investigation, since the GOP is convinced that that is what was corruptly,
started the
paid
whole
for,
thing.
Yeah, paid for by the Democrats.
Yeah.
Democrats.
Oh yeah, the demon rats. There we go.
That's nice. That's like metal.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's hardcore. But basically this guy is kind of just a piece of shit and is the head of the House Intelligence Committee.
He wasn't. He had to recuse himself, if you remember.
Right, because they...
But he never really did, and I think he's violated his recusal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he is... Well, so, from my understanding, he had to do that because they didn't agree entirely on if what he did was legal or not in terms of leaking that information to the...
Right.
To essentially, public.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's very strict rules on recusal.
Yeah, and then he couldn't...
It's not a feeling. Recusal's not a feeling.
Yeah.
The DOJ has very strict rules. Now, as far as House Intelligence Committees and Senate Intelligence and Judiciary Committees, I'm not sure. I don't think the DOJ writes the rules for those.
Right.
I assume they can't be that different.
Yeah. But apparently they didn't find that he was guilty enough of, doing anything regarding the leaking of that information preemptively. So he is back where he was before and strong and
stronger than ever.
Yeah, and he's like the head guy really that's kind of stepping in, leading this counter effort against essentially the Mueller investigation.
This is insane, man.
Yeah, it's insane and it's very scary to me. It's just really scary, and it's expected though. I guess it's expected.
Sure,
someone's got to be the voice, or someone is going to be the voice.
If we wrote fan fiction about this, sure, but it's still scary. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if this is essentially they're going to be their only method of trying to stop this, or if it's another one, then it makes sense that it exists. But it's just disturbing that it's
definitely
happening.
So blatantly.
Now, another thing that came out in that meeting was that not only did when Nunes wrote to the DOJ, we're demanding all these documents involved in the Rush probe investigation, He also demanded that he interview all the FBI agents that have been involved, particularly in the dossier investigation, follow-ups on things reported in the dossier. One of those people that he requested to interview was Rybicki. Now, if you remember, I think it was last week, I was talking about the 5 people Comey had contemporaneously corroborated his meetings with Trump with. Mm-hmm. They were high-level officials in the FBI, and the first 2 to go down were McCabe and Baker. Baker was the general counsel to the FBI. He's being moved, demoted. McCabe was called to testify in front of the House Intelligence Committee, and now he's retiring this month. Mm-hmm. Now, the third person on that, I said, watch out for these last 3 guys, Rybicki, Bowditch, and I think Garris.
Right.
Watch, because they're just going down this list, picking off dudes. Mm-hmm. Sorry, ladies, these are just guys. I wish there were more ladies. Now, Nunes has asked to bring Rybicki in front of the House Intelligence Committee, and I predicted that this would happen. And not only did I predict it, but I tweeted it, mm-hmm. and it got picked up on the Rachel Maddow show. So that's pretty cool.
I love Rachel.
I don't know if they have anything to do with each other. I think they did, but
hey,
if not,
be a guest, Rachel.
If not, I reported something before MSNBC.
That's incredible. Even though she's late night, still.
She's. I have a crush on her.
Same.
Actually, my husband does too. I think I went over this. I'm an Anderson Cooper person, and shame. You get what you get.
Sexuality.
So Rybicki's going to be interviewed. Watch what happens. I guarantee you he'll either be demoted or resign or something.
Something's going to go down, yeah.
They're going to use his testimony against him in some way or somehow to discredit this dossier. And I think Bowditch is next, so mark my words. Do you hear that, Rachel? Make sure you're talking about Bowditch. Though now, the thing is though, this attempt to discredit the dossier has kind of gone out the window.
Yeah.
Not only did McCabe corroborate during his testimony that Comey had spoken to him, mm-hmm. Before they pick these guys off and try to make them look like idiots, they're going to be testifying. Mueller's already asked him this, and I'm sure that there's documentation on it, and I'm sure Mueller has it.
Right.
But Rybicki, I mean, well, now we have the handwritten notes from Reince Priebus. Mm-hmm. So, okay, go ahead and discredit the FBI guys Comey talked to. We have notes that Priebus talked to Trump about it. So,
and legally, those
GFY
notes are evidence. It's not just like a random craft or industry where it's like just jotting notes down. It's like legit proof, right?
Well, the notes would not be entered as evidence.
Okay.
But they let Mueller know what to ask.
Okay. Yeah. Direction.
It was like as much as Comey could do in that moment to try to just make some sort of
which were huge. That was super helpful. Yeah, those memos. Yeah.
Because testimony in a court of law is going to hold a lot more weight mm-hmm. than a handwritten note. These handwritten notes are just there to guide Mueller into asking the correct questions.
I love
it. So this New York Times article. You guys, moving on now to the New York Times. This is specifically the one where Trump told McGahn, he's the White House counsel. He's not Trump's lawyer, he's the White House's lawyer. Mm-hmm. We went over that last week. Told McGahn to lobby Sessions. He said, go tell Jeff Sessions not to recuse himself. And he did. McGahn did. I'm surprised he did.
Yeah.
I thought that was strange that he went ahead and did that. But he did, and Sessions said, no, mm-hmm. I can't. And this is what I was referring to earlier. There are very specific rules about recusal in the Department of Justice. It's not a choice. Yeah. It's not a feeling. It's not It's not like the appearance of...
Right. It has to be like black and white.
Like why Mueller fired Strzok or removed him from the team. Right. That gives the appearance of impropriety or the appearance of bias. Mm-hmm. This is straight up rules.
Yeah.
He was involved in the Russia meetings. He worked on the campaign. He's not allowed to
do anything with it.
To oversee any investigation involved.
Also lied about that multiple times.
Involving those things. So McGahn went and said, recuse yourself. Sessions said no. And when McGahn came back and told Trump he's not recusing himself, Trump apparently exploded.
Right.
Trump had a fit. And he actually said, he was mad and he said, he's supposed to protect me. Mm-hmm. Where is Cohn?
Yeah.
Now, Cohn is Trump's old school lawyer who's represented mob bosses. He was disbarred in the 80s because he's such a POS.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, he's ridiculous. But now, if you're the president and you say, can you go ask Jeff Sessions if he'll recuse himself in this investigation? I'm curious to know. That's not obstruction of justice.
Right.
Or why he's going to recuse himself if he does. I'm interested in knowing the legal workings of this. Can you show me the policy that says he has to recuse himself? I'm interested to know. That's not obstruction. When you say he needs to stay in place to protect me from the Russia investigation, you're getting a little closer to obstruction. Trump, he just simply doesn't understand the role of the Attorney General. The Attorney General is a lawyer for the people,
right?
Not the president.
He's not Cohen.
So if you're asking the AG to recuse himself to protect you from a criminal investigation, that to me shows corrupt intent.
Yeah.
And probably to other legal minds.
Definitely.
So that's interesting. Further, the Priebus notes, right? Comey told Trump, so Trump called up Comey on April 11th and said, hey, bro, loyalty?
You up?
I'm paraphrasing. You up?
You loyal?
New phone, who dis? So he said, basically, Comey, I want you to publicly say I'm not under investigation. I want you to publicly exonerate me. He probably didn't say the word exonerate. He doesn't know what exonerate is.
He tried. I'd love to hear that.
Publicly come out, say I'm good, tell everyone I'm fine, I'm tremendous. He's using a 6 vocabulary words. And Comey said, no, I can't do that. What you need to do is talk to the Department of Justice. And at the time, do you guys remember episode 3 or 4? I was talking about Dana Bente.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dana Bente was the acting Attorney General at the time.
Oh.
Went to the Justice Department. Comey said, go talk to Bente.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So maybe Trump went to talk to Bente, but he told Priebus, and Priebus wrote it down. I talked to Comey. Comey's not going to publicly exonerate me. I got to go talk to Dana Bente.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, Bente was fired 5 months later.
Huh.
I think that's too much time. I don't think that's what it was. I don't think, the reason I don't think there's a connection there is because he fired all the U.S. attorneys.
Okay, yeah.
Now, Dillon, this guy named Dillon, this was in the article too, this is one of McGahn's deputies, purposefully misled the president. He told the president, when the president asked him, can I fire Comey? He said, no, you can't. Now, at the time, according to Dillon, when he said no, you can't, he meant that, like, no, you can't. And then he went and spoke to McGahn and other counsel and said, can he? And they went, oh, yeah, he can fire him if he wants.
Oh.
And Dillon did not correct the record with the president.
Yeah.
He let the president believe he couldn't fire Comey. And he said the reason he let him believe that is because he believed that firing the FBI director would imperil his presidency.
Oh.
And
he's on to something there.
We have a special counsel because of that.
Oh, yeah. The podcast because of that.
Dylan still works for the White House, by the way.
What?
Yeah. So Priebus's notes. Yeah, so now we've got the Priebus notes, right? And Priebus has the same lawyer as McGahn.
Huh.
The White House lawyer has a lawyer.
That's right. I didn't know that. They're the same lawyer.
And it's the same lawyer as McGahn. And so we know they're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't, as a lawyer, represent two people who have conflicting statements.
Oh.
And he is still the lawyer for McGahn and Priebus. So let's go over the obstructions of justice.
Multiple.
Because I really felt like I needed to keep a list and just
more keep coming up.
Make these straight. First of all, there was the Air Force One meeting where the guy quit because he said, I witnessed obstruction of justice when they decided to craft the statement saying the June meeting was about adoptions instead of the Magnitsky Act, which is the same thing anyway.
Right.
They should have just said it was about McDonald's because saying it's about adoptions means it's about the Magnitsky Act, which means it's
themselves.
which means it's about sanctions. Now, did they have dirt? Who knows? We'll find out. But I think the investigation is looking more at obstruction than collusion. So the Air Force One meeting. Then telling McGahn to lobby Sessions not to recuse himself for the purpose of leaving him in the oversight position to protect him from the Russia probe.
Right.
Then pressuring Senator Burr, and others in the Senate to shut down the Senate investigation into Russia. Then asking Comey to stop the investigation into the FBI, and telling Comey to stop the investigation into Flynn. Then telling Reince Priebus he spoke to Comey about clearing his name, and then firing Comey to relieve pressure from Russia, which isn't conjecture, it's what Trump told Lester Holt during an interview, And he told 2 Russians in his office that we had to learn about from Russia.
Yep.
Because he wouldn't let the American press inside that meeting. He tweeted that he fired Flynn for lying to the FBI. That's obstruction. He told Coates, he's the director of national intelligence, to press the FBI to stop the investigation. And he told Tom Tillis, that's a senator or a representative, to drop his legislation that he was working on to protect Mueller.
When did he not obstruct? When he was golfing? When did he have time?
He obstructs probably just views.
Right.
When he's golfing. So it's interesting that Comey told Trump to go to Bente, as I said, for public exoneration, because Bente, this was in April, Bente was fired in October. And like I said, I don't think they're connected.
Right.
Because like as
a big gap.
All the U.S. attorneys were fired, and including some of the top ones that he had said would keep their jobs.
Okay.
Like the one in the New York district that's being replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want you guys to worry. The U.S. attorneys are not the ones who bring state charges.
Right.
Okay. Those are the state attorneys general.
Schneider.
All the blue states, their attorneys general aren't going anywhere.
Oh yeah.
So we still have the backup
Mm-hmm.
for in case pardons happen.
Exactly.
So I don't want you to worry that just because he knocked out all the U.S. attorneys and is replacing 17 of them at the last minute, there's plenty more.
Yes.
Now, I mean, that does limit their ability to look into it on a federal level in those areas, but...
and can they not subpoena certain documents?
Yes.
If they're just state level?
Yes. So, well, they're U.S. attorneys, so they're federal.
Okay.
But the important note is that they can't be, this doesn't interfere with state charges to circumvent pardons.
Yeah.
Fusion GPS dropped a bomb this week in the op-ed section of the New York Times. It's this stunning op-ed in response to the New York Times in response to the GOP attacks on the Steele dossier. Now, Fusion GPS, those are the guys who put together the dossier. They hired Steele. They're the co-founders of Fusion GPS, and they fired back in this op-ed. First, they're calling for Chuck Grassley to release their transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
Grassley had previously agreed to do so, but he's flipped since then, him and Graham.
Yeah.
And this is what I was talking about earlier. What's causing Graham and Grassley to flip? And I think it's got to do with the RNC hack.
Oh, they're susceptible, yeah.
Right.
I think they have, yeah. I think they
benefited from them.
Get them all out, man.
They're compromat. So, compromat's my new favorite word. Like salacious.
Ooh.
Fusion GPS stands by the credibility of their dossier. Fusion says they told Congress then to look into the money laundering through Trump's real estate properties, and they did not.
Right.
They stated they hired Steele without telling him who they were working for. So they didn't say, because at first Fusion GPS was hired by Washington Beacon. That's a conservative group.
Mm-hmm.
That's a conservative journal, whatever.
Yeah.
Then Hillary paid.
Mm-hmm.
But when Steele when Fusion GPS hired Steele, they didn't tell him
any of that
who they were working for. They gave him no specific instructions other than, why does Trump seek deals with dubious Russians? That was the only thing.
Yeah.
And he got pee out of that.
When life gives you
when life gives you dubious Russians, make pee.
Home show sounds awesome.
Oh yeah.
Steele, his sources in Russia were not paid.
Okay.
So there was no
transfer of money.
There was no transfer of money, and there was no, untoward activity. There was no incentive for these guys to lie. They weren't getting paid to say any of this.
Right.
What Steele found when he came back disturbed him so much that he decided to share this intel with McCain through an emissary. That's how McCain found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. And they also indicated there may be a mole in the Trump camp, and Mueller may have his own deep throat.
Oh.
So Deep Throat. Who was Deep Throat? If you don't.
Let's clarify that. Yeah.
It was a porn in the 70s, but Deep Throat was an informant in the Nixon White House, very high up.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think he was when they released his identity, he was the deputy director of the FBI.
Okay.
Which is, who is it now? I know Ray is the director. McCabe.
Oh.
So it was that level.
Yeah.
That's who Deep Throat was. He met in the garage, underground parking garages with Woodward and Bernstein. Woodward specifically, I think. And and gave this information about what was going on in the White House, how it was so much bigger than Watergate, and how it was so much bigger than they thought. And now they're speculating, based on what Fusion GPS says, and this might be why Grassley doesn't want to release the tapes, that Mueller might have a deep throat.
Interesting.
And so, who is it? Because I want to know.
I want to know.
I think it could be Priebus.
I mean, at this point, it's definitely not Bannon, right?
No.
He just said some angry things.
No, Bannon.
Because he's gone.
Bannon isn't worth
so it's got to be someone still in, like still.
He's not worth a crap.
Actively.
But speaking of Watergate, there's a podcast out there called Slow Burn you should check out. And the reason I think you should check out Slow Burn is think of the name of Slow Burn. We're facing right now all this backlash from the Republicans trying to stall this investigation on all the fronts, in the FBI and the DOJ and in the Mueller, in the Office of Special Counsel. Now, they're doing it by, first of all, Nunes asking for all these documents, the House Intelligence Committee doing all this stonewalling, stacking the interviews, not giving people enough time to prepare, holding interviews with key witnesses in New York during votes and during holidays, so staffers have to interview them. They're doing all that stonewalling. We've got the Baker being moved, McCabe, Ribicki. But what I want you to understand is that these things take so much time. And if you look at Watergate, the interesting thing about Watergate is that it started and it ramped up and then it died. They politically squashed it. Nixon successfully politically squelched that investigation. Nixon was then reelected in a landslide. And it wasn't until after that, 18 months later, that it started picking up steam again.
Wow.
So all of this FBI sort of crumbling under the political thumb of the White House, all of this stonewalling, all of this, it's to be expected. It's how you behave when you're guilty.
Right.
And I just don't want you guys to lose faith.
Yeah, that's a good point, because sometimes I find myself just like, how's it going to go down? But I like that you mentioned that this is probably not the end, even if they found a way to just shut it down for a moment. It'll come back up. It's the truth.
We're at the end of the beginning.
Yeah.
I like that.
They're essentially trying to just filibuster the whole process.
Yeah, any way they can, yeah.
And when Nunes gets those documents too, every single word that he can possibly try to bring any sort of fight on that he finds in them, he's going to. It's just going to take this is a crazy tree branch now that's going to just...
I love it, though.
So check out Slow Burn. I'd love you guys to feel the breaks and the slowness and the deliberateness of these investigations, and know that Mueller is 10 times more meticulous than Archibald Cox, I'm pretty sure. I mean, he had a great sterling reputation too, but Mueller is just, like I said, airtight.
Yeah.
And you'll get the feeling for how it must have been to wait.
Yeah.
And wait.
The suspense.
And lose faith and watch judges get nominated and crappy laws get passed.
Nixon get reelected. Oh my God, what if Trump gets reelected? Oh.
So then we had a question online. This was a good question. David Thorne, I think he's a right guy, but he had a good question. He said, if the dossier means nothing, because I had posted something on the Mueller She Wrote page that, we got notes from Priebus, dossier means nothing. We don't care what you think about it.
Yeah.
Or, we don't care if you're trying to
use it as a
crap all over it and make it look poopy or pee on it, which I'm sure you're into.
Oh my God.
We don't care. We've got other corroborations. We've got it with the 5 guys from the FBI, McCabe, Baker, Ribicki, Bowditch, and Garris. I think I'm
so many names to remember.
And we have the notes from Priebus that Trump spoke to Comey about exonerating him. We have other proof. So he said, if the dossier means nothing now, why did anyone pay for it?
It was the beginning, right?
Well, that's campaign research. Okay. That's what happens. First of all, I asked him, why did who pay?
Yeah.
There were 2 payers, Washington Beacon and Hillary. I told you. Hillary's campaign. I don't know if Hillary even knew. I don't care.
Right.
I really don't care because hiring Fusion GPS, an American company, who then hired Christopher Steele, an MI6 guy, to then look into Russia is not conspiring with Russia.
Right.
Conspiring with Russia is saying, you've got dirt, let's meet, I love it.
Yeah.
And meeting with Russians
Yeah.
That's conspiring.
Two totally opposite
Meanwhile,
things.
they're undermining the entire fabric of our election process.
Yep.
So, and the dossier doesn't mean nothing, as much of it has been corroborated by multiple sources. Yeah. However, the GOP is trying to discredit the entire investigation
based on it.
By asserting the dossier is what kicked off the FBI investigation into Trump-Russia collusion.
So if you separate it, we can move forward, is the idea,
That's
right?
pointless, though, because it's like what Mueller's doing right now isn't all set on the precedent of just the dossier. That's not it at all. It's not like if you can discredit that, it's going to discredit. Yeah.
Right, but they think so.
And we also know now that Papadopoulos had a little drunk time with Debbie Downer.
Drunk time.
So, but, you know, I said that it kicked off the Russia investigation because we know that's not true.
Right.
We can't, meaning the House Republicans cannot use the unsubstantiated parts of the dossier to discredit the FBI, CIA, NSA conclusion that Russia did, in fact, meddle in our election on behalf of Trump. So that was a good question, I thought.
And
yeah.
I'm not saying that the dossier means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important piece of work, and a lot of it's already been corroborated.
Yeah.
I still want the P-tapes, but I love what's already been corroborated.
Yeah, we can leave the rest behind.
I'm happy with it. It was investigated and reported on by a very credible man who is an expert. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys. Sabotage.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, I found out today from a source.
Okay.
Can't tell you who. Source close to Mueller. 3 indictments were made at the end of December.
Oh, shit.
They are sealed.
Huh.
One's an A-lister and 2 are shadow men.
Okay. All right.
When do we find out?
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're sealed right now. They were made.
Nice. So it's like a done deal for whoever those 3 people are.
Yes.
All right. Well.
That's exciting as fuck.
Yeah, that's a good note to end on.
So Indictment Fantasy League.
Yes.
I'm thinking Priebus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think Priebus is the big fish.
Okay.
And it's going to be like one count of something because he's potentially working with Mueller.
Or it could be Kushner is the big fish and Priebus is one of the background guys. And who else was I talking about earlier that I wanted to bring up? Was it Schiller? Could be his bodyguard. I don't think it's going to be Bannon. Like I said, I just don't think Mueller wants Bannon. I don't think he wants to do anything to do with him.
Yeah, he'd get crazy. Be like, oh, good, you caught a madman.
Do you know how easy it would be to discredit?
Talking to him.
Oh, yeah, totally.
He would be so easy to discredit
for
as a
sure.
witness. So, we got 3.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Kushner, Kushner and DT Jr. would be 2 big names.
Who does this person consider to be shadow men?
It's just lesser people.
Okay. Yeah. A-lister sounds like it could be someone like Kushner.
Dude,
to me.
Kushner is the biggest piece of shit. He's just dry. He deserves it so bad.
That would be nice.
Kush and the tush.
Kush, and we already know he's got enough to indict Kushner, so maybe Kushner was indicted. There might be more indictments on Manafort. That could also be it.
So that would be, it'd be a separate document even for the same people that have already been indicted?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think Priebus, he's either going to be indicted and charged, or he's been cooperating, and it's going to be an unveiling of a plea deal, much like what happened with Flynn.
Oh, so the indictment can be a plea deal. It's not just an automatic, like...
It's sealed, yeah.
So it can be a lot of
they're
things.
just like indicted on like one count of some small... What is it that they got...
Conspiracy? Or
lying to the FBI.
Yeah, Papadopoulos.
Oh, yeah.
But what I don't know, and what I did ask and I didn't get an answer to could these indictments be a plea agreement?
Okay.
And I don't...
You don't know yet.
I didn't get the answer to that.
But that's a good question.
It is a very good question. So,
can they indict? Would they ever indict someone first with one count of lying to the FBI and then do a plea deal?
Oh, yeah.
And that would come after, or is it always going to be the same?
So far, his indictments are for people who are pleading not guilty.
Huh. Just the ones that won't give it up. Yeah.
Where he charges them with 12
turned on drugs.
You're right.
12 things, and it's the people who have agreed to work with him
that
have done a plea deal with him that have pled guilty. And like I said, I don't know if those can count for these sealed indictments.
I really hope it's Kushner, because there's I mean, he was in the news a lot, like 4 or 5 weeks ago when we were doing the episodes, and it's kind of been like slow news a little bit for Kushner, but he's still a huge piece of shit.
That's an A-lister. Yeah. Oh, big.
Now, yeah, he's an A-lister. Now, this brings me to what I think Mueller should do.
Okay.
Are you listening? Are you listening, hot stuff? You're going to be in our calendar. You're going to be in our sexy, sexy justice calendar.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be January, too. That's my birthday. You're first. Or Comey. I can't choose. I love you both so
Comey is
hard.
February. I'm feeling.
I love you both so hard. Yeah, Comey for Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes.
So here's what I think Mueller should do. I think he should indict Trump. I think he should charge a sitting president.
Just go for it.
It's never been done. There's memos that say it can't be done, but it's never been litigated.
Set a precedent.
I say do it, litigate it, set a precedent. If it doesn't work, we're just right back where we are now.
Which doesn't hurt.
No.
We still have things we can do after that.
Correct. Losing a case might hurt him a little, but honestly, I don't.
He's got to be prepared for it.
But how would he lose? You mean lose like they straight up just don't find?
No, if the Supreme Court says
we're not going to
you can't indict him.
Oh, wait,
okay,
they can
which is
say
not
that?
even really a loss per se.
They
or
could
just
choose
a
that.
roadblock.
Oh, snap.
But it puts us kind of back to where we are. So I
Okay.
think step one, when you've got enough, obviously,
Yeah.
indict Trump.
Yeah.
Step two, if that doesn't work, if it works, yay, we go to trial.
Right.
If it doesn't work, go ahead and prepare your report for Congress.
Yes.
But do it after we flip the House of Representatives.
There you go.
We are going to be able to get enough seats to flip the House of Representatives so that we can have an impeachment hearing and we'll be able to complete impeachment.
Yeah.
Now, for removal, you have to get 2/3 vote in the Senate.
Okay.
There are 9 seats up for grabs in the 2018 midterm. That is, if we won all 9, which I don't think we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's not enough seats to get a 2/3 vote.
Oh,
we would have to depend on some Republicans.
Oh.
So get Romney.
Oh,
Romney's
yeah.
going to win Utah.
That's right.
Get Romney to lead the Republican charge in the Senate for removal after we impeach. That's what I think you should do, Mueller. Take it as you will. I know
Knowing
you listen.
him, he's probably thinking that same thing 10 steps ahead of us.
I know you listen.
Just a
And
bubble bath.
yeah, no, he's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
That would be nice.
Thanks, AG.
I would lose faith if he didn't.
That's you, dude.
No, it's a good idea, but you should work for him, I think.
Yeah, right. The doctor's health
This
administration.
podcast is like a million of those text messages.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So next week, I want to talk about this too. I think I have a prediction for this week. I think Sessions is going to get fired.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I think they're going to fire Sessions. They didn't invite him to Camp David. He was the only jerk that wasn't invited.
Poor thing.
He gets fired, then he'll flip.
I think
Like
he's
an
going
angry
to get.
elf.
I think he's
Oh.
going to get fired. I don't think he'll flip.
Really?
I think he wants to stay in politics somehow.
Give it up,
Yeah,
man.
throw in the
Fucking-
towel.
Dude's been a senator forever.
He's been a crappy guy for
I
a
don't
long
know
time.
if
He's been a racist since he was
Oh,
born.
yeah.
Since they named him Beauregard.
I'm very invested.
What if he wasn't born a racist? Can you imagine a sweet little Beauregard baby?
Oh, dude, that's how every racist starts.
Yeah.
It's just a sweet little baby.
You learn to be racist.
That's
Yeah,
so
we're all blank canvases.
Yeah.
And then Sessions happens. I think he'll be fired.
Yeah, you're
and this
probably
could put
right.
the Mueller investigation into danger. And that's why I'm saying listen to Slowburn.
Yeah.
Don't lose faith.
Mhm.
Okay? It could stall.
Yeah.
The new attorney general could defund him. You could
Mhm.
tell him you can't look into finances.
Right. But it can always come back.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I just said it like that.
Even if it comes back after the 2018 elections, like, or this year. Yeah, even if it's after that. Like,
Trump better hopes he stays in office because once he gets out of office, he's going to jail.
like this is
Can
crazy.
they,
You're
do,
right.
can they do that? Can they reopen it? Or how long is the...
If they haven't charged him,
Yeah.
and it's decided they can't charge him, that's still without prejudice. He can
Right.
still be charged for that.
As
It's
soon
not
as he's
double
done.
jeopardy.
Yeah.
And if somebody pardons him, then the states
States.
can do it.
Oh, I love it.
My
I
man
love it.
Schneiderman can do it.
Yeah.
So next week, you guys, I want to see what happens to Sessions. We're going to talk about that. I might come on. I might have to eat some crow because maybe he'll still have a job. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know when Rebecca's interview is, but when it is, I'm sure you'll hear from me. I want to see if Priebus pleads, is what I'm talking about, and if that's one of the indictments. We might get 3 indictments and a plea.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how that, if what the correct terminology for that.
Right.
I'm just a doctor of health administration.
Hey, you're a good one.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Maybe I'll ask Jordan Parker.
I was like, what?
I think these 3 indictments are coming this month. I'm not sure if they're coming this week.
Oh,
I
I
hope
hope.
that they do, but
We'll
I'm not feeling it yet. And I think all these lawsuits that are being filed are going to just strengthen the investigation, and
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit more about those lawsuits as they happen. So again, follow us on Twitter at Mueller She Wrote. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on, or subscribe to us on iTunes and Podbean. We love having you listen. I am very appreciative that you're here. This is a labor of love for me, I know. So it's always kind of been, I want to take all this crazy information and just kind of condense it down and give it to you so that you can, so you can know what's going on. So I've been AG.
I've been Jordan Coburn.
I'm Jaleesa Johnson.
Thanks for listening to Mueller, She Wrote.